The encounter. The night sky above the ruined city was dark, but not silent. The stars burned faintly through the smoke, and broken towers reached up like the bones of giants. The air carried a strange whisper, like voices from far away. Voices that were not human. He walked slowly through the streets, his boots crunching on shattered glass and metal. He was a soldier, far from his homeworld. His mission simple: search, survive, report back. But tonight something was different. Something pulled him forward, as if the city itself wanted him to walk deeper inside. He stopped, listening. There. It was again the whisper, softer now, like a song carried by the wind. It was not human, and yet it was beautiful. The melody wrapped around his mind, calming but also frightening. No human voice could sound like that. He moved past a broken archway, his flashlight cutting through dust and shadows. The light fell on walls marked with glowing lines, symbols older than his language. The design shimmered like fireflies, and the song grew louder. The soldier raised his weapon, though he knew bullets might mean nothing here. The ruins opened into a wide hall, its ceiling cracked, the floor covered in pools of water that reflected starlight. At the center of the hall stood a figure, a woman. No, not a woman, not in the way he understood. She stood tall, her skin glowing faintly as if the stars themselves lived under her flesh. Her hair flowed like silver rivers, each strand catching light that was not there. And her dress shimmered, woven with threads of light. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. She was the most radiant being he had ever seen. Not just beautiful, but impossible. Her presence filled the space, making the ruins feel alive again, as if they had waited only for her return. He stayed still, afraid to move, afraid she would vanish like a dream. But she turned slowly, her head tilting as if she already knew he was there. Her face came into the light, and his heart almost stopped. She had the face of a princess from human stories, eyes deep and endless, glowing faintly with power he could not name. Her lips curved into the smallest smile, but it was not warm, it was knowing, secret, dangerous. The kind of smile that said she understood more about him than he could ever know about her. His training told him to speak, to demand answers, to call for backup, but no words came. Instead, he stood frozen, his weapon trembling in his hands. The princess, or whatever she was, stepped forward, the water rippling under her feet but never touching her. Her glow reflected on the walls, painting the ruins with light. He wanted to believe she was an ally, a survivor, someone who needed help, but deep inside another voice whispered, "Run." This was no ordinary meeting, no accident. It felt like fate, or maybe a trap. She stopped a few steps away, her eyes locked on his. The whispering song filled the hall now, and he realized it was coming from her. Not from her lips, but from her very being. It was her voice, her essence. It wrapped around his mind, searching, touching, learning. He gasped, trying to resist, but the sound grew stronger, and suddenly he felt his memories flicker, his childhood, his battles, his fears. It was as if she was reading him, peeling him open. Her expression changed only slightly, but he saw it. Surprise, curiosity, and something else, recognition. Then she spoke, her voice soft but clear, echoing inside his head more than in the air. "I know you," she said. His blood ran cold. He had never seen her before, never. And yet she spoke as if she had been waiting for this moment. Waiting for him. The soldier raised his weapon higher, his voice breaking as he forced words out. "Stay back," he said. "Who are you?" The princess tilted her head, her silver hair sliding across her shoulder like liquid light. "You already know," she answered. "You have always known." Fear and wonder crashed together in his mind. He wanted to believe it was a trick, some alien technology, some hallucination. But her eyes told him otherwise. They glowed like two galaxies, swirling with secrets, and in them, he saw something that made his heart stop again. She was not just looking at him. She was looking through him, into every part of his soul. The ruined hall felt smaller now, the air heavy with power. He realized this was no ordinary princess. No story of royalty, no tale of beauty and kindness. This was something else, something dangerous, something ancient. And then, she smiled again, this time wider, as if she had found exactly what she wanted. The soldier stepped back, his breath quick, and in that moment, he understood the truth. This meeting was not chance, not accident. It was the beginning of something far larger, something that could decide the future of all mankind. The eyes that were not human. The soldier's breath slowed as the glowing figure stood before him. Her light wrapped around the broken walls like fire, making shadows bend and twist. He told himself she was only a vision, a trick of exhaustion, maybe even the ruins playing with his mind. But when her eyes met his, he knew he was wrong. Those eyes were not human. They were too deep, too endless. Galaxies swirled inside them, blue fire and silver storms, as if stars were born and died in her gaze. When she looked at him, he felt small, like a single grain of dust floating in a universe he could never understand. His weapon shook in his hands. It was useless, he knew, but holding it gave him the illusion of control. Her lips moved slightly, but her voice entered his mind without sound. "You are not afraid," she said, though his heart thundered. "You are curious." The soldier's throat went dry. How could she know his thoughts? He tried to speak, but the words tangled. Who are you?" he whispered, his voice broken. But she only smiled. That strange, secret smile, the kind that made him both want to trust her and run far away. The air grew colder. The song from her being rose again, louder this time, echoing in his skull like 1,000 voices. He clutched his head, falling to one knee, the pressure unbearable. Images flickered in his mind, worlds burning, ships torn apart in the dark, armies kneeling before a throne of light, and at the center of it all, her, the soldier gasped, shaking. His memories no longer felt like his own. It was as if she had planted visions, warnings, promises, or threats. He looked up, his breath ragged. "Why show me this?" he demanded, though his voice cracked like dry glass. Her eyes softened, just for a moment, as if she pitied him. "Because you are chosen," she answered. His chest tightened. Chosen. The word echoed in his mind like a curse. He wanted to ask what it meant, why it had to be him, but she stepped closer. The water at her feet did not ripple, her body glowed brighter now. The ruins themselves seemed to bow to her presence. The soldier gritted his teeth, fighting the pressure on his mind. "You're not real," he whispered to himself. "You're just in my head." But the more he said it, the more the truth unraveled. She was real, too real, and her power was beyond anything he had seen. Then it happened. Her glow dimmed for a heartbeat, and in that moment her face changed. It was subtle, but enough. Her beauty cracked, and behind it, something alien shone through. Her skin shimmered like scales, her pupils narrowed into slits, her mouth curved into something sharp, something cruel. It was as if the mask of a princess had slipped, showing the predator beneath. The soldier stumbled back, raising his weapon again. His pulse roared in his ears. This was no dream, no illusion. This was a being that wore beauty like armor, and he was standing alone before her. "Do not fear what you see," she said softly, her voice still calm, still echoing inside his skull. "This is my true nature, the form your kind has forgotten." Her words cut through him, sharp and cold. Forgotten? Did that mean humans had known her people before? If so, why had no history ever told of them? His mind raced. His fear battled against the pull of her presence. Every instinct screamed to escape, to call his squad, to leave her here in the ruins, where she belonged. But he could not move. Her eyes held him still, not by force, but by something stronger. Fascination. She leaned closer, her gaze burning into him. "I know your world," she whispered. "I know your wars, your victories. Your failures," he froze, his blood cold. How could she know that unless she had been watching, unless she had been there, The soldier felt his chest tighten again. A horrible thought struck him, one that made his skin crawl. What if humanity was never alone? What if she and her kind had always been near, hidden, waiting, watching? The ruins trembled, dust falling from the ceiling as if the city itself reacted to her words. The soldier took a deep breath, finally forcing himself to speak. "What do you want from me?" he asked. The princess tilted her head, her silver hair flowing like a river of light, her alien eyes never leaving his. Her smile widened, just enough to show something dangerous, something powerful. "What I want," she whispered, "is everything your kind has tried to keep from me." The soldier's heart pounded as her glow rose brighter, shadows fleeing from her form. The ruins shook harder, the ground beneath him cracking, and he realized with horror, this was not a meeting. This was not chance. This was the beginning of a claim, a demand, a war. And in that moment, as the hall split with light, he finally understood. The princess was not here to ask. She was here to take. The secret of the princess. The ruins shook, but the soldier held his ground, his weapon aimed, his breath heavy, his heart caught between terror and fascination. The princess, if she was even a princess, stood before him, glowing like a living star, her alien eyes fixed on him with impossible intensity. "You do not understand yet," she whispered inside his mind. Her words were not sound, yet they struck deeper than any voice. "You see me as something new, something unknown, but your kind has known us before." The soldier frowned, his grip tightening on his weapon. "That's not possible," he said under his breath. "There's no record of you, no history, nothing." Her smile widened, calm yet sharp like a blade hidden under silk. "Your history is incomplete," she said, stepping closer, her glow pushing back the shadows. "We erased ourselves from it, long ago, when your kind was not ready." The soldier shook his head, the thought burning inside him. Erased. If what she said was true, then humanity had once seen her kind, known them, maybe even feared them. But who had the power to erase an entire people from human memory? The soldier's training screamed to call for backup, to retreat, but his legs refused to move. Her presence pinned him, not by force but by awe. Every step she took pressed down on his chest like a mountain. She was not just beautiful, not just alien. She was authority itself. "You carry their blood," she said softly, her glowing eyes flickering with strange light. He blinked in confusion. "Whose blood?" "Mine," she said, her voice echoing with certainty. His mind froze, the words slicing through him like cold steel. "No," he whispered, shaking his head. "That's not possible." Her gaze never broke. "It is not only possible, it is truth," she said. "Your people are not what you believe. You are not only human, you are fragments of us." The soldier's chest tightened. Fragments. What did that mean? That humanity was not born free, but created, shaped, touched by something far greater. Images flickered in his mind again. Humans kneeling before beings of light, cities rising and falling, battles in the stars fought long before Earth's first. Nations even existed, he gasped, clutching his head. The visions burned, but behind them came a terrifying realization. Humanity was not alone in its origin. "You are our children," the princess whispered, her words heavy as stone. "And children must one day return to their parents." The soldier staggered back, his weapon shaking. "No," he muttered. "We built ourselves, we fought for everything. We bled for it, no one owns us." Her expression shifted, almost pity, almost pride. "And yet here you stand, drawn to me, because your blood remembers." The hall groaned as if alive, walls trembling with her words, water rippling, like it feared her. The soldier's throat tightened. This was bigger than him, bigger than any mission if what she said was true. Humanity was not the master of its fate. It was the shadow of something ancient. He raised his weapon again, forcing his voice to be steady. "Why now?" he demanded. "Why reveal yourself now?" Her glow dimmed slightly, her eyes hardening. "Because the others will not wait any longer," she said. The soldier froze. "Others," he whispered. She nodded slowly, her silver hair shining like threads of starlight. "My people are not united," she said, her voice heavy. "Some believe you should be guided, protected, allowed to rise." Her gaze sharpened, her glow flaring brighter. "But others believe you should be broken, controlled, enslaved before you grow too dangerous." The soldier's stomach turned. This was not just about her, this was a hidden war, one that humanity had never known. A war that decided whether humans lived as allies or chains. His breath quickened. "Which side are you on?" he asked carefully. Her smile returned, soft and dangerous. "That is the question," she whispered, the song from her being rose. Again louder, vibrating through the ruins like thunder. The soldier's vision blurred. The walls seemed to melt into stars, the floor shifting into endless space. He stumbled back, but there was no ground. Only void. Only her light holding him in place. Her voice grew sharper now, filled with power. "You must choose," she said. "Stand with me, and I will raise your kind higher than you dream." Her words pressed against him like fire. "Stand against me, and you will fall before the ones who come." His heart raced. A choice, but why him? Why here? He was just a soldier, not a leader, not anyone who could decide the fate of humanity. And yet she looked at him as if he was the only one who mattered. "Why me?" he demanded, his voice trembling. Her eyes burned brighter, her glow flooding the ruins with silver fire. "Because you carry the memory," she said. "The memory we left inside your kind, waiting for this moment." The soldier's body shook. The air hummed with her power. The ruins cracked, light spilling through broken stone. Her gaze locked on him, her voice a storm in his mind. "You are the key," she whispered. "The key that will decide if humanity rises or burns." The soldier's breath caught, his pulse hammering. The ruins collapsed around them in thunder, the stars above roaring with light, and he realized with horror that the secret she carried was not just about the past, it was about the future. A future only he could decide. The choice. The soldier stood frozen in the ruins, his chest heaving as her words echoed through him. "You are the key," she had said, her voice still burning in his mind. "The key that will decide if humanity rises or burns." The glow around her body pulsed like a heartbeat, filling the hall with silver fire. The air itself felt alive, pressing against his skin, making his weapon useless in his hands. She was no longer just a vision, no longer only a mystery. She was a force, and that force wanted something from him. He swallowed hard, his throat dry. "You talk about choices," he said, his voice trembling. "But I'm no one, I'm just a soldier, I don't lead anyone." Her eyes narrowed, sharp and merciless. "You stand because you were meant to stand," she replied. "You are not here by accident, you were brought, called, chosen." The soldier shook his head, stepping back as dust rained from the trembling walls. "No," he whispered. "This is wrong, you're lying." But her gaze never wavered, her presence crushing his denial. "If I wished to lie, you would not still breathe," she said. Her words calm but edged with steel. The soldier's body trembled. Every instinct screamed for him to escape, but his legs felt chained. The ruins groaned around them, as if the entire city held its breath. The water at her feet glowed faintly now, reflecting her light like liquid silver. "You must decide," she said. "Stand with me, and your people will inherit the stars." Her voice softened, carrying a strange warmth that made his chest ache. "You will see your children walk on worlds you cannot yet imagine. You will rise where others fall." Then her voice hardened, her glow sharp as lightning. "Stand against me, and your people will be broken before they even understand the war that has already begun." The soldier's stomach twisted. War. She spoke of war as if it was already happening, as if humanity was already part of it without knowing. He clenched his fists, his breath ragged. "You want me to betray my own kind," he said, anger flashing in his eyes. You want me to kneel?" She tilted her head, her silver hair flowing, like water in unseen wind. "Kneeling is not betrayal," she said, her smile faint. "Kneeling is survival." Her words struck him harder than any weapon. Survival. The truth in her tone was undeniable. She believed humanity could not survive on its own. He wanted to scream at her, to deny her. But deep inside, he knew she might be right. Images of Earth flooded his mind. Cities burning in future wars. Humanity struggling with its own greed, its own violence. If enemies like her people existed, how could humans fight them? He gritted his teeth, trying to push the visions away. But her song rose again, pouring into him like fire. He fell to his knees, his weapon clattering across the floor. Her glow wrapped around him like chains, not physical but stronger. "You feel it," she whispered. "The weight of truth, the shadow of what is coming." Her voice lowered. "Dangerous now. You cannot run from it, you must choose," he gasped, forcing words through the pressure. "Why me? Why not someone else? Why not a leader?" Her eyes glowed brighter, her expression unreadable. "Because a leader would already be corrupted," she said. "Because you still believe in something greater than yourself." The soldier's chest pounded. She was forcing him, cornering him, making him question everything he had ever fought. For if he chose her, he would betray his world. If he rejected her, he might doom his world. The silence in the hall thickened, broken only by the hum of her power. Then suddenly, the ground split, a deep crack racing across the floor. Water. Spilling into darkness, the ruins roared like thunder, and the soldier staggered back as light burst from beneath. Something vast stirred in the shadows below, a presence older and heavier than hers. She glanced at the crack, her face hardening for the first time. "They are coming," she said sharply. Her glow flared, her eyes burning into his. "You must choose now." The soldier's blood turned cold. Another presence was rising, something worse, something darker. The air filled with a low rumble, like countless voices whispering in hunger. He could feel it. Whatever was beneath the ruins was not here to speak. It was here to consume. He turned back to her, sweat dripping down his face, her hand extended, glowing brighter than ever. "Take my hand," she said, "and I will protect you, protect your kind." His heart pounded like a drum. Behind him, the crack widened, light spilling out like fire, shadows crawling up the walls. Before him, her glowing hand, her alien eyes, her impossible promise. He stood at the edge of two dooms, one human, one alien. One choice could save his kind. One choice could damn them forever. His hand shook as he stared at hers. The air trembled. The ruins screamed. The ground began to collapse. And in that moment, he knew, whatever choice he made, the world would never be the same again. The betrayal. Or the truth. The ground split wider, the ruins shaking like a dying beast. Shadows poured from the crack, crawling up the walls like living smoke. The soldier's breath came fast, his heart hammering as the darkness reached for him. The princess still stood calm, her glowing hand extended. "Take it," she commanded, her voice thunder in his skull. "I can protect you from what comes." For a moment he almost reached out. Her eyes burned like stars, her voice wrapped around him like chains of fire. But something inside him held back, a small sharp whisper, not hers, not his own. Something different, something warning him. He pulled his hand back, teeth clenched. "No," he said, his voice raw. Her expression froze, then hardened. The glow around her flared, turning harsh, no longer soft, no longer divine. "You refuse me," she said, her voice now cold. "You refuse survival itself." The soldier backed away, his boots slipping on the shaking floor. The shadows rose higher, their whispers filling his ears with hunger. But even through the chaos, his eyes stayed on her. She was too calm, too ready, as if this moment had always belonged to her. A sick thought hit him like a blade. She knew this would happen. She knew. Something else lived here, waiting. Maybe she hadn't brought him here to save him. Maybe she had brought him here to feed him to the dark. His stomach twisted, his weapon useless in his shaking hands. "You set me up," he whispered, Her lips curved not into kindness, not into comfort, but into something sharper. "Every test requires fire," she said softly. "And you are being tested." The soldier's breath caught. Test? This was never about choice, never about trust. It was a game, one she controlled, one he could never win. The shadows screamed now, rising like a wave, faces forming inside the black fog. Eyes glowing red, mouths wide with hunger, they reached for him, dozens, hundreds, their whispers drilling into his skull. "Join us. Join us. Feed us." He stumbled back, almost falling, the edge of the crack yawning below him. Her light flared again, holding the shadows at bay, but only just, and she turned to him, her smile unreadable. "Now you understand," she whispered. "Without me, you will be nothing. Without me, your kind will be consumed." But her words rang hollow now. He saw it. The shadows bent toward her, not away. They feared her, yes, but they also knew her. They bowed to her light as much as they recoiled, like predators bowing to a stronger predator. The truth cut deep. She was not saving him from them, she was part of them. His heart pounded, sweat running down his face. She had called herself guardian, protector, parent of his kind. But now he saw the cracks in her mask. Not guardian, master. Not protector, owner. "You lied," he spat, his voice sharp through the roar of the ruins. Her smile did not fade, her glowing eyes locked on his. "Truth is not what you think it is," she said. "It is what survives." The shadows lunged, their claws reaching, their whispers screaming in hunger. The soldier fired his weapon, bullets, tearing through the black mist. Each shot lit the hall with fire, each echo deafening. But the shadows reformed unbroken. His weapon was nothing. The princess raised her hand, and with one gesture, the shadows froze. The hall went silent. The whispers cut off like breath in a dead throat. The soldier gasped. Staring at her in disbelief, she controlled them completely. She turned back to him, her silver hair flowing like living light. "Do you see now?" she said softly. "You are not here to fight them. You are here to prove yourself to me." His knees felt weak, rage boiling inside him. Every word she had spoken, every promise, every threat. It was all part of her design. She had dragged him here, not to save humanity, but to bind it, to bind him. Her glow rose brighter, her voice filling every corner of his mind. "This was always your fate," she whispered. "You will kneel, and through you, your kind will kneel." He clenched his fists, his body trembling. "No," he growled, his voice low but fierce. "I won't let you." For the first time, her smile faded. Her eyes narrowed. Her light flared sharp and dangerous. "Then you will burn with the rest," she said coldly. The shadows roared, breaking free, surging toward him in a storm of claws and teeth. The hall shook violently, the ceiling cracking, stone falling like rain. The soldier stumbled, his weapon useless, his body failing. But deep inside, a spark lit, faint, small, but burning. Something else answered her power. Something inside him, hidden, waiting. The shadows lunged, and his body glowed, the battle of wills. The shadows struck like a wave, claws stretching, teeth flashing, their whispers screaming in his ears. But before they reached him, his body erupted with light. It burst from his skin, raw and wild, as if something long buried had been set free. The princess stepped back, her eyes narrowing, her glow flickering in surprise. The shadows screamed, recoiling, their forms tearing apart under the blast of his light. The soldier staggered, his body burning, but it was not pain. It was power. Something old, something deep, something he had never known. The hall shook harder, the ruins trembling as the two lights clashed, his wild glow against her controlled radiance. Her lips curved, not in anger, but in fascination. "So," she whispered, "it has awakened." The soldier gasped, struggling to breathe. What is this?" he shouted, his voice shaking, her eyes blazed, her hair flowing like rivers of silver fire. "It is what we left in you," she said. "The memory of what you are, the spark of what we were." He shook his head, rage boiling, through the power flooding his veins. You used us, he spat. You shaped us, then hid the truth. You made us pawns. Her smile sharpened, her glow rising to meet his. Pawns can become kings, she said, if they survive the board. Thuel, ground cracked beneath them, streams of light tearing upward as if the planet itself could not hold their clash. The soldier raised his hand without thinking, and a wave of white fire burst from his palm. It tore through the shadows, scattering them into smoke. The princess lifted her arm, her silver glow shielding her like armor, the blast breaking against her like water on stone. You fight well, she said, her voice carrying strange approval. But power without control is only chaos. Her hand swept forward, and a spear of light shot from her palm. It struck his chest, hurling him across the hall, stone shattering as he hit the wall. He coughed, pain burning, but the glow inside him refused to die. He pushed himself to his feet, his eyes blazing white. No, he growled. I won't. Bow. He launched forward, his body moving faster than thought. The air cracked as their lights collided, shockwaves blasting the walls apart. Water exploded into steam. Stone melted under the force. The hall was no longer ruins. It was a battlefield of gods. She pressed him back, her power refined, sharp, focused. His was wild, raw, untamed. Every clash shook the ground, every strike tore reality like fabric. Her face was calm, her movements perfect, but her eyes burned hotter now. For the first time, she was not only testing him, she was fighting him. The soldier's rage fueled him. He saw flashes of Earth, his people, his world. He would not let her chains bind them. He would not let her shadows consume them. He roared, his glow flaring brighter, slamming her back with a burst of raw force. The princess stumbled, her hair whipping around her face, her smile fading for a heartbeat. Then she laughed softly, a sound both beautiful and terrifying. Yes, she whispered. That is it. Her glow rose higher, brighter, sharper. You are mine, whether you kneel or fight. She struck again, faster than light, her hand cutting through the air. A blade of pure silver formed, slashing toward him. He raised his arm, and instinct answered. His light hardened into a shield. The blade struck, sparks of starlight exploding. Around them, their wills clashed, their powers grinding. Neither yielding, both pushing, both burning. The air screamed. The walls cracked. The ground split wide open. Beneath them, the abyss glowed red, something ancient stirring in the dark. The soldier's body shook, his strength fading, his glow flickering, but he clenched his teeth, forcing more, refusing to break. The princess leaned closer, her eyes inches from his, her voice sharp as a blade. You cannot fight me forever, she hissed. You are human, you are weak. He glared back, his voice low but fierce. Maybe I am weak, he growled, but I'm not yours. With a final roar, he unleashed everything, his light exploding outward in a storm. The blast hurled her back, her shield cracking, her glow flickering for the first time. The shadows shrieked, torn apart, the hall collapsing in thunder. The soldier fell to his knees, gasping, his body burning, his vision fading, but he saw her rise again, her silver fire blazing, her face no longer calm. For the first time, she looked furious. Her voice shook the ruins, cold and merciless. You dare wound me, she roared. You dare defy what made you. The ceiling split open, the sky above tearing with light. Her power rose like a storm, towering, endless, unstoppable. The soldier staggered, barely able to stand, his glow flickering weak. And then he realized this was not the end of the fight. This was only the beginning of war. The final revelation. The ruins burned with silver fire. The sky split above them. The soldier stood weak, his body trembling, his glow flickering like a dying flame. The princess rose tall, her light towering, her fury endless. Her voice shook the air, sharp as thunder. You are nothing without me, she roared. You are a shadow of what we left behind. The soldier clenched his fists, his chest aching, his vision blurred, but deep inside the spark still burned. Small, fragile, but unbroken, he raised his head, his voice raw. Maybe I'm a shadow, he said. but a shadow can stand on its own. Her eyes narrowed, glowing like twin suns. You think this fight is about strength? She hissed. No, she whispered, her voice colder. Now, this is about truth. The shadows shrieked below, clawing at the crack in the ground. The ruins trembled, stone falling like rain. The soldier steadied himself, though his knees buckled. What truth? He demanded. Her gaze locked on his, sharp and merciless. The truth you were never meant to know. Her glow dimmed. Not weaker, but clearer. Her face softened, her fury fading into something heavier, something ancient. She stepped closer, her words echoing deep in his chest. You are not our children, she whispered. You are our replacements. The soldier froze, his heart stopping. Replacements, he whispered. Her eyes burned brighter, her voice heavy with sorrow and steel. When we fell, when we broke ourselves with pride and war, we scattered pieces of our essence into the void. Her voice cracked like thunder. Those pieces became you. The soldier's breath caught, his mind spinning, not children, not allies. Humanity was never meant to be free. They were built to carry what her kind had lost, not born, made. You are us, she said, her silver hair burning in the storm. You are the second attempt. Her voice sharpened. And you are already failing. The soldier's chest tightened, his body shaking. No, he growled. We built ourselves. We fought. We bled. We earned every step. Her smile returned, sharp and cruel. You think you earned it, she whispered. You think your wars, your victories, your empires were yours? Her eyes glowed brighter. They were memories, she said. Echoes we left inside you, guiding you, pushing you, making you. Walk the same path we did. The soldier's stomach twisted. Every war, every invention, every dream. Were they his kinds or only borrowed from hers? His rage flared, his glow pulsing again. You used us, he spat. You shaped us like tools. She stepped closer, her face calm, her voice deadly. You are tools, she said. But tools can break, or become weapons. The hall roared with thunder, the shadows shrieking louder, drawn by her fury. The soldier staggered back, his breath ragged. His power burned inside him, wild and untamed. But her words carved deeper than any wound. If humanity was built from her kind, then what did it mean to fight her? What did it mean to resist her? Voice cut through his doubt, sharp as a blade. This is the final truth, she whispered. You are not fighting me to save humanity. You are fighting me to decide what humanity is. His heart stopped, the words crashing into him like fire. Not save, define, not protect, become. Her glow rose higher, her form towering like a goddess of light. Choose, she thundered, stand with me, and I will give you the power to rise beyond us, beyond even the stars. Her hand extended, again burning like a sun. Stand against me and you will destroy everything you love. The soldier's fists shook, his body burning. Images of Earth flashed in his mind, his home, his people, their future. His heart screamed with rage and fear, but also with defiance. He raised his head, his eyes blazing white. No. He growled, I won't let you decide what we are. The princess's face hardened, her glow sharp as a blade. Then you will fall, she hissed, and she struck, her power crashing like a storm. The hall exploded with light, the ground tearing open, the sky burning, the shadows roared, consumed in fire. The soldier roared back, his glow rising, his power colliding with hers in a storm that shook the heavens. White fire against silver flame, raw defiance against ancient control. The ruins shattered, the stars above screamed, and as their lights clashed, the truth burned in his mind. This was not only about her, not only about him. This was the war for the soul of mankind. The clash roared brighter, swallowing the world in fire and shadow, and then the light went out.